The Fed15 podcast is presented by Serving Those Who Serve, a financial planning practice serving federal government employees and retirees all over the country. This podcast is for informational purposes only and is not intended to be taken as financial advice. All listeners should consult their personal advisors before taking any action. The opinions expressed by our hosts are their own and do not reflect the views, policies, or position of either Raymond James or Serving Those Who Serve. Securities are offered through Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services are offered through Raymond James Financial Services Advisors, Inc. Serving Those Who Serve is not a registered broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James Financial Services, Inc.
Welcome to the Fed15 podcast, presented by Serving Those Who Serve. Each week, we discuss the latest news and info the feds need to know in 15 minutes-ish or less. I get long-winded sometimes. So whether you are a seasoned federal employee or just starting out in your career, we have you covered. So grab your coffee, your energy drink, your green juice, whatever gets you rolling and keeps you rolling, and we will tell you what you need to know but might have missed. We are your host, Dan Sipe, and I am joined by the incomparable Katelyn.
Hello, everybody. Another week in the life here in the federal benefits space. How are you, Dan?
I am bopping to music in my head, Katelyn.
Oh, that's
because
cool.
I'm very, very excited. Folks, I've talked about this. My next birthday starts with a 7, and that's going to happen later in fall. And I'm very excited to say that Miss Mary and I will be going to see Sir Tom Jones to celebrate that. Now, Tom was I was a little kid when Tom was cool, okay? But I remember how cool he was. And I remembered that I wasn't allowed to stay up late to watch the Tom Jones show. And folks, I will put this out there. I have no vested interest in this. You got to hear this cat sing at 85. I mean, now that I'm closing in on a 7 number, I'm starting to collect people that I want to look up to for who I want to be when I grow up. And Sir Tom just jumped in on that. So if you catch me moving like this, just understand it's not unusual going in my head. So
very cool.
Full disclosure. Full disclosure.
That could be a little bit of a theme, actually, for the episode today, because we are going to talk about, a little bit later on, I'm going to talk about my favorite topic, which is save money and how you can save more of it and stretch those dollars. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the super catch up. And you might have heard of that before if you're a regular listener of the podcast. Dan's real salty about it. We'll talk about why a little bit later when we get into that article. But before we get there, Dan, you were going to talk to us about a really interesting situation that's going on with USPS and maybe how that's not unusual.
Yes. Okay. So, folks, this may have gotten on your radar. If you're a USPS employee, it certainly has. And that is that they have announced a temporary suspension of employer contributions to the defined benefit portion of FERS that began in April, actually. And it has to do with the budgetary aspects and shortages that are projected to go through early 2027. Folks, again, I'm not taking any sides here, but, we're probably going to pay more for stamps, and we need to. Because if I can go from the tip of Maine to the bottom tip of California for the same shipment of a first-class letter as I could to the next county over in Maine, there's probably something missing there, but I'm not going to spend time on that. But what I really want to do is talk about what this is and what this isn't. So, for example, if you're a USPS employee, your paycheck deductions will not be affected. You're not going to see a difference there. And main concern is whether the pause is going to affect retirement benefits or service credits. And the current guidance says that it won't. Now, it's important to know, and kudos to my colleague, Katelyn Murray, for being the historian here and digging this out. This happened in 2011. And when the budget shortfall was addressed, it was made up. I anticipate that will probably be the case. So what's not changing? USPS will continue to withhold and transmit your FERS contributions to OPM, also your TSP contributions, and the USPS matching contributions, as well as Social Security payroll contributions. Your service credit will continue to accumulate. Retirement accounts will continue updating normally. So remember, there are 3 pieces to folks in FERS. So you've got the FERS pension, you've got TSP, you've got Social Security. 2 of the 3 are not affected at all. 1 is only affected by a 1% contribution that is currently paused, not discontinued forever or anything like that. So again, I will stress this. There is no immediate impact on service credit accrual and retiree benefits. So what does that mean? Your ability to retire at a certain age and what you're going to get. Okay. But I will say that this is something that we are going to keep watching because it's important to you. So it's important to us. You will continue earning pension credit based on years of service, high through average salary. And the current issue is employer funding, not employee earned benefits. So longer term impact would depend on the duration. We don't want to see something like this go a decade. What does this say to us about USPS finances? USPS is an interesting animal because it's running kind of as a self-funded agency. So it needs to be able to generate enough revenue from the services it provides. And let me tell you, and we use FedEx. I like FedEx. We use UPS. I like UPS. I can tell you, the further I ship it, the more it costs. So I think there's certainly some room there. So what should employees do? Play it safe. Review your pay stubs for FERS deductions, TSP deductions. I think if for no other reason, then you're going to see they're the same. And you'll feel better when you see that. Check your TSP account so that you can see that everything went in when it's supposed to. As always, this is always your best practice. Keep your SF50, your pay statements, and any notices or emails, because documentation may become important, but I'm not saying there will be. Corrections might be needed later. So when to seek help? Contact your HR, benefits office, or union representative if deductions appear incorrect, TSP deposits are missing, matching contributions don't appear right, and be sure to have those supporting documents like the pay stub screenshots and things like that. So again, the key takeaway, USPS has temporarily paused the employer contribution to FERS, all the other ones, TSP, match, Social Security, your contributions will remain the same. You're going to receive the same service credit. Okay. But it certainly doesn't hurt to keep your eye on it, but don't panic. So Katelyn, tell us about this great and amazing Secure 2.0 additional catch-up provision that's so fantastic for all people. Oh, wait.
Only certain people.
Go ahead.
Only people of a certain age. And in this case, I would say being older is not necessarily better. So let's talk about this. So Secure 2.0, we talked a lot about it. We covered different provisions. One really interesting provision is this concept of this catch-up or super catch-up contribution. So we've covered a ton on the podcast how you can save if you're under age 50, $24,500 to your TSP. If you are age 50 or older, you can put an additional $8,000 in there as of 2026 to save a total of $32,500. Secure 2.0 created this really fascinating enhanced catch-up contribution limit for only 4 years. Right? So the only people who can do this super catch up are people who are in the current calendar year turning 60, 61, 62, or 63. This
not
is
Dan.
Fascinating. And not Dan. They actually put that in the legislation. It's a footnote. You have to really look for it, but not Dan's site. What's different about this is with our typical catch ups that we're used to, right? Under 50, you're just a young spring chicken. And, you're saving the $24,500. Once you turn 50, then it's a little bit more serious. Retirement is a little bit closer. So we're going to increase the amount that you can put into your TSP. And that makes sense. And that amount stays increased for the rest of however long you're working and funding a TSP. What's really interesting about this provision, and I have never been able to figure it out, is this one has an end date. So if you are Dan Sipe, and you are 64 the year that this piece of legislation comes out, then you don't get it.
Plan.
You didn't ever get it. And it's so weird. So it's this limited time for window when you turn, the last year when you take it, you're 63. The next year, 64, drops back down to that regular catch-up contribution of $32,500 that we talked about. So really fascinating. Haven't found out a rhyme or reason as to why they only made it last 4 years, but it's there, it exists, and we want you to know about it and be able to take advantage of it. So what is this, right? So the super catch-up contribution applies, as we discussed, to feds who are eligible for it, right? Which means you're working and you're funding a workplace retirement plan. By the way, this is not just TSP. This is also 401ks and 403bs as well. But it applies to folks 60, 61, 62, or 63 at any point during the calendar year, right? Enhanced catch-up contributions are what this is. So it allows you higher TSP savings. What are those limits? Well, I'm glad that you asked. So if you are 60, 61, 62, or 63, you can save a total of $35,750 to your TSP this year, okay? So it's not is $24,500 plus $8,000 plus, more, right? It is $24,500 plus the super catch-up amount, which is announced each year, which for this year is like $11,250, I think. I think that math checks out. So your total that you can put in is $35,750. If you are 63 and you turn 64 next year, you then need to reduce your contributions to fund evenly with $32,500 over the year. Why do I need to reduce my contributions? TSP will automatically cut me off, right, Katelyn? Yes, they will. However, if you're funding at a rate to fully fund with $35,750 over a full calendar year, you're going to max out early. And maxing out early in the TSP is no bueno. Why? Because you miss out on your employer match if you're not putting money in there. Okay? So you'll want to go in and adjust it and make sure you're funding evenly across the year. There's no separate account that money goes into. There is no separate election that's required. I know a lot of folks can put their regular contribution in and then they can specify an amount for the catch-up contribution. This would go wherever your regular catch-up contribution goes. This opportunity is temporary, and it cannot be recovered later once the window closes, as Dan cited. So you don't get to go back and get it. So if you are somebody who's going to be turning 60, 61, 62, or 63 at some point in the future, you may want to mark your calendar because this is going to allow you to save a little bit more money prior to retirement. Early 60s, often peak earning years for you. Right? You've built a whole career, you've been working and working and working, and you've gotten those salary adjustments and those promotions and job changes and things over the years. So often these are your peak earning years. So you've got maybe a little extra money to direct towards those retirement savings, hopefully. And your retirement timeline is shorter. So that's going to increase the importance of accelerated saving strategies for you. Now you may be thinking, but Katelyn, at 64, I am even closer to retirement, and therefore my retirement timeline would be even shorter. And the importance of accelerating my saving strategies would be even higher. And I would say, yes, I agree with you. Unfortunately, I wasn't at the table when they made this piece of legislation. Very unfortunately for all of us. So we've got to work with the rules that we've got. Maybe they'll call me next time. You would think I know enough feds to get an invite, but.
This is like giving a lottery ticket as a gift to my favorite cousin. And then it hits. I'm really happy for them, but I kind of wish I kept it.
Right. For sure.
So I'm happy. I'm happy for our 63 feds. I'm happy.
He's so happy, he says, through his wins. You can tell he's very happy. No, but in all seriousness, we do want you guys to take advantage of this. There's a lot of benefits to maximizing this window. It's gonna close maybe some earlier retirement savings gaps that you had. And it could also increase your retirement income flexibility, right? Maybe you're okay. Maybe you're on pace for retirement. But maybe by maxing out this window for 4 years, you can spend an extra $500 a month throughout the rest of your retirement period. That's great. That's a great trade-off. And it's also going to reduce your reliance on your pension, on those COLAs, on TSP withdrawals or Social Security later. So that's going to, having obviously more money in that investment portion of your portfolio is going to reduce your reliance on those pensions and help you feel a little bit less fixed income in retirement because it's going to give you that flexibility and the ability to keep up with inflation a little bit better. So here's the thing, early 60s, I mean, you're not retired. I know a lot of people in their early 60s and late 60s for that matter, present company included, who are quite busy, right? So you're also managing college expenses for kids in some cases, caring for aging parents. That's a huge one. That squeeze where you're still taking care of kids, but you're also taking care of parents, that's tough. And then also recovery from major expenses. So you want to make sure that you are kind of maintaining what's important, right? You got to keep your emergency cash reserve intact. You got to capture that full TSP agency match. If you're not already capturing that, if you're not contributing at least 5% to your TSP in your early 60s, please, 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 please reach out to us because we got a lot of work to do, honey. And you want to make sure that you're increasing your contributions to the TSP gradually with the goal of hitting that max out level, right? Stuff happens. I get it. You may have a lot of skeletons in your financial past. That doesn't mean you can't build a better future. Okay. So we will meet you where you are and help you kind of work towards that if you do need that help. Progress and consistency on this matter way more than perfection. Okay. So here's some things you want to avoid. Don't wait too long to increase your contributions. Dan's got a great article on this called January Jump. It's getting a little bit of age on it now, but it still holds true. Okay. When you are getting your pay raises each year, right? If you get them, when you get them, put them towards your TSP. Just ignore, like, I know it's really hard in a high inflation environment, but believe me, if you give yourself the ability to live on more, you're going to rise to the occasion, right? Anybody will.
Indeed.
So try to, divert that extra income towards your TSP and towards your investment portfolio savings. Raising your contributions too aggressively, though, and leaving them there is going to put you in a difficult situation, right? If you have increased your TSP contribution, you're like, okay, Katelyn, I hear you yelling at me every week and I'm ready to increase this TSP. I'm going to max it out. And you ratchet that up and you don't address your spending elsewhere. And you bankrupt your emergency fund. And then you have an emergency. Because the thing about emergencies is that they aren't timed. Then you're in a situation, right? And then we're facing some really difficult conditions where, should I pull from my TSP to pay off this debt? Right? Don't put yourself there. Raise your contributions and be aggressive, but not too aggressive, and make sure that you're checking on everything else and you're kind of keeping track of your financial situation. Don't ignore the tax strategy differences between traditional and Roth contributions. That's huge, right? We're in a low, historically, tax brackets are really low right now. I know that that does not feel that way to you. Nobody ever feels like taxes are low. They are right now. And that could mean that you could take advantage of funding the Roth option in your TSP, given everything else that you have going on, right? Not a blanket recommendation, just a thought, right? You may want to look at that. And then you may want to look at coordinating your catch-up contributions with some broader tax and retirement planning, right? It's great to save money. I am all for team save money, but I am also all for team make sure that we're putting the money in the right bucket, because it can be pretty pricey later to get the money into the right bucket if we didn't put it in the right bucket to start with. Okay? So saving money, awesome. I would rather you save money than not save money. But I would also rather you save money with a plan in a structured way than to not do that. Okay? To just chuck money anywhere. All right? So long story long, your enhanced catch-up provision is going to create a temporary opportunity to strengthen retirement savings. That opportunity is going to disappear after age 63, unfortunately. And the effective use of that window is going to increase your savings sustainably, support your household financial stability, and coordinate with those long-term retirement income goals. Whether you're in a situation where we're a little behind and we need to catch up, or whether you are right on pace and we can take this opportunity to just bump that retirement income up, take an extra trip every year. That's, no small potatoes. You always want to make sure that you are reviewing your contribution limits annually and that you are adjusting those intentionally. Whether we are adjusting up in the case of, I just turned 50, now I can put more in my TSP, or I just turned 60, now I can put more in my TSP and use the enhanced catch-up contributions, or whether I've turned 64 and now I need to adjust down from 35,750 to 32,500 as of 2026 so that I don't max out too early and miss those free, sweet employer match dollars. If you need some help with the whole making sure that we're not just saving money to an obscure bucket that we don't know or understand tax implications of, right? And not just current year tax implications, my current year tax efficiency minded folks and my CPAs, we need to also understand the long-term tax consequences, okay? If you need help with that, you can reach out to us at meetings@stwserve.com. We would be happy to talk with you about it. We help folks with this kind of strategy all the time. Our TSP planning webinar, we've got another one coming up in July. So that will be July 2nd from 1 to 4. I'll just go ahead and throw a plug in there that can help you with some of that strategy as well. If you're like, I don't know how to handle all of that, we can help you. And that can be a good place to start.
Indeed.
Dan, I'm proud of you. You didn't throw too much of a tantrum about the super catch-up contribution. I know it's such a sensitive topic for you.
No. I've given my favorite cousin a lottery ticket.
Hey.
So I'm happy. I really am.
Listen, maybe we can campaign to, I would love to have been at the table when they made Secure 2.0. There's a lot of things in there that are definitely interesting.
Agreed.
We love when a piece of tax legislation gets a sequel because the first version was so darn unclear.
There you go. And I'd be remiss if I didn't throw this in. Yes, January Jump has some age on it, but it's still good, as does yours truly and Sir Tom Jones. So,
hey, there we go. All right, guys, that's all the time that we have for today, but we're going to be back next week to bring you all the latest news and updates that you need to make informed decisions about your career and your financial well-being as a Fed.
And please subscribe to this podcast, whether you're on YouTube or Spotify. Number one, so you never miss an episode, but that helps the algorithm say, hey, this is good for Feds. More Feds see it. Remember, we're reach, teach, serve. I don't think you're going to find other firms that are putting it out there like that for why you should talk to them and things like that. It's reach, teach, serve. So please remember to share this with your friends and colleagues.
Absolutely. And for more information on the topics covered in today's show and more, so much more, check out our blog at stwserve.com. Our blog is free. We put 3 pieces of content out every single week. You can go read it at 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. You don't ever actually have to talk to us personally to gain value from what we're putting out there. And that is because we are a mission-led practice and we are deeply invested in the federal community, both professionally and personally, to be honest with you. So we put so much stuff out there for free, like this podcast, that you guys can learn from, benefit from, and implement on your own. So while you're on our website, you can subscribe to our newsletter, The Weekly Serving, to get all the latest news for Feds delivered straight to your inbox every week. I also am a big fan of making STW Serve your homepage. And that way you see the new content as it pops up on your homepage and you have that kind of reminder, ooh, I should look at my TSP. Ooh, I should check in on my finances. Yep. Really helpful.
And Katelyn, don't forget those live webinars that we have going. Yeah, pretty much every single week. We've got a couple of dandy ones coming up. June 17th, we've got the ever popular, great place to start. Share it with all your friends. FERS webinar from 1 till 4. That with legend Ed Zerndorfer presenting, and Katelyn, you're the host. And as a matter of fact, you guys are right back in the saddle on June 23rd with the tax webinar. I know you think tax season is over, but it's never too early to start your tax planning for next year. That's how you end up with an outcome that you like versus one that you don't. And that'll be June 23rd from 11 till 2. Again, that's the Ed and Katelyn show. However, if you're looking for a more personalized approach, part 2 makes everything better. You'll hear about that a lot. You can get some one-on-one time with us. We'll explain your stuff to you. Okay. You don't want to talk to us after that? Fine. We will help you. We'll answer your questions. So reach out to us at meetings@stwserve.com. We will help you any way we can.
That is true. That is true. Well, folks, that is going to do it for this episode. I am Katelyn Murray.
And I am the bopping Dan Sipe.
And we will see you next week.